Hey guys, Ryan here at Signature Edits, and I'm going to show you how fast and easy it is to edit an engagement or portrait shoot using our Moody Vibes pack. Let's get into it. First off, I have this engagement session with Kyron and Courtney. It's an amazing session that my wife shot for us. We're going to edit it together. I'm going to press Command A to select all these photos, and then I'm going to go to the Apply During Import dialog and select Moody Vibes. And select my favorite preset from this pack, which is definitely Moody Vibes Earthy. I love this preset. It is worth buying the pack just for this one preset. I use it on absolutely everything. Anyways, let's keep going. So I apply that preset because when Lightroom is actually importing the photos, it'll create previews with that preset applied and just save a ton of time cycling between photos. It really reduces the loading time and makes things faster. So I'm going to hop into the Develop module, and right away you can see that this looks weird. Super weird. Why is that? Well, it's because the white balance is not correct. Right now, Lightroom has automatically imported the photo with the white balance as shot. We need to set it to auto. The reason being that this camera, for whatever reason, had the white balance set the same for every single photo. And so you can see it looked good for some of them, but for others it is clearly out. So we're just going to use Lightroom's auto function to fix that for us. So select auto, select all these photos by pressing Command A, and then hit sync. We're going to synchronize all the settings across, and Lightroom is going to do its best job at guessing what the white balance should be for each photo. That's going to save us a ton of time, especially when we're saying it's one-click presets. Well, it's really only one click if A, your white balance is correct, and B, your exposure is correct. So we're going to go through here and adjust the exposure, and you can see once the white balance is right, the photo looks great. If I wanted to, I could add a little bit of contrast, and that's looking good. Now, for those of you who are really interested in the darkest and moodiest of the vibes, we have a fade option as well. So here's Moody Vibes Warm, Cold, Vintage, and Earthy. You can see I love Earthy the most. I could warm this up. That's why Warm is looking so cold. And then we have the Warm Fade, Cold Fade, Vintage Fade, and Earthy Fade. So if you really want to go for that darkest and moodiest of the vibes, you can hit Earthy Fade and apply that to all of them. We're just going to go with Earthy today. Great, so now all I have to do to edit these photos from here, once the white balance is correct, is just go through and adjust the exposure. I do this by pressing the plus and minus keys on my keyboard, and it's super quick and simple. If you want to add a little contrast, you're absolutely free to. Obviously, each photo is going to be a little bit different in terms of what contrast it needs to look perfect, because if you're shooting your camera lens pointed towards the sun, like this is clearly a backlit photo, you can see that we've lost a lot of contrast around Kyron's hair. And so we might have to compensate for that a little bit in our photos. So I'm just going to go through just as necessary. And if I want to, I can add some effects. Effects come with the Moody Vibes preset pack. We've got all of these adjustment brush presets that you can use, and one of my favorite is the Brooding Dehaze Darken. And what this does is applies a dehaze, kind of decontrast, declarify around whatever is outside of this little circle here. So we can use it to really place some focus on this couple and darken everything else down. So there's before and there's after. Super dark, super moody, you get it. Okay, so let's keep going. Just pressing plus and minus, adjusting my contrast here. Exposure, that is. Sometimes I mix up words, it's okay. A little bit of contrast. This one's really cool. I'm going to do that Moody Dehaze Darken here for sure. And if here is your normal adjustment brush tool, you can actually hit this little triangle, and that will give you one slider that allows you to adjust the intensity of the effect. So I want lots of effect. And we're just going to do kind of a tilt shift vibe. So again, here's before that effect and after. Really cool. Great, and if we wanted to, we could actually even add some sun flare here using our sun flare brush. So we'll go here, sun flare subtle, and just drag a sun into existence. And obviously the sun, for whatever reason, is on the outside of this, so I'm just going to have to press the apostrophe key, and that's going to put it inside the circle. Drag it up there. And the reason I'm dragging it up here is because the sun is already hitting them from this direction. I couldn't put the sun over here, it would just feel weird. So I'm going to put it right there, and then dial it back so that I just blend it in here, maybe add a little bit of saturation, just like that. And you can see it really adds an extra little bit of pop to the image. So without it, this is what it looks like. Let's get rid of that. And here's with. Just add some interest to your image, and that's why we include them with every preset pack. So this guy, we're going to definitely take our Dark and Moody Dehaze Darken tool, put that on there. This one, we'll just add some exposure and a little bit of contrast, darken it down. Again, if we wanted to. Another way to do the sun flare is using the gradient tool. Sun flare subtle, grab it from here because that's where the sun actually is. Just like that. Dial it back a little bit. Apparently it's not subtle enough for our needs. Go like that. So we could either do something like this. Maybe add a little bit of contrast. And we're good. So this one, Adobe has not quite gotten the white balance correct, so we'll just warm it up a little bit, adjust the exposure. There you go. Now if you wanted to, you could work on this sky. So let's see, is there any detail in the sky? The easiest way to do that, pull the exposure way down. We can see that this is blown out and white, so I'm not going to bother trying to get those colors back, basically because they don't exist. They were blown out in the original photo. Okay, let's keep going here. This guy's looking pretty good right out of the gate. If you wanted to, again, we could add a little bit of sun flare. Why not? Here we go. We'll dial it way back here so it's not quite so intense. Warm it all the way up. And so that's really up to you, right? If you like the sun flare, that's cool. If you don't like the sun flare, more power to you. This is looking good. Do some quick adjustments here so you can see what it's like if I am not taking my time on every photo. So this one I like, just like that. If you want, you can apply a nice black and white. We've got a couple of options, a faded option and a more high contrast option. That's the black and white. Here's the color. And I think this would look really, really great, not with the sun flare, but with our dehaze darken tool. Yes, very cool. And a little bit too intense for me, so I'll just hit that minimize window, dial that back, like that. Now, if we want to go really crazy, we could have the darken and we could add a sun flare up here. We'll dial that way, way back so it's super subtle. Just like that. So, just so you can see, here's our photo without any adjustment layers. And here's with. Kind of cool, hey? Okay, going through, add some exposure there. You can see that we're getting a little bit of grain in our photos because it's dark out. We're at ISO 640 now. So if you want, you could add our denoise preset. So let's take the earthy denoise, and that's just going to apply a little bit of noise reduction here in the photo. Now this guy is obviously really, really underexposed. I have to take it up 3 stops, so we've got some serious noise going on. But if we apply our denoise, you can see it looks like a nice kind of filmic grain that we've got going on rather than a bunch of digital noise in your camera. Great, and we'll do the same thing with this one. Very cool. And we're done. Okay, so that is how to edit an engagement session or portrait session using the Moody Vibes pack. It is so quick, so simple, and so easy. Once you have your white balance dialed in where it needs to be and your exposure, it is pretty much just drag and drop. You are ready to go. So if you have any questions, contact us at hello@signatureedits.com. I am looking forward to getting these presets in your hand. We spent a lot of time making sure that they work perfectly, so I can't wait for you to try them out. All right, talk soon.